Alright, so a second trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania has been released, and this is not a trailer reaction. This is by no means a breakdown of every shot of the trailer, but this is me just kind of giving my 2 cents on the trailer, what I think about it, maybe some possible theories, talking about some things that happen in the trailer, and, bada bing, bada boom, that's pretty much it. Probably not going to be a super long video, but I just want to make this real quick because I really wanted to talk about this trailer. I wasn't planning on making a video about it, but the more I watch this trailer, the more I just want to talk about it. I've watched it probably like 50 times already. The other reason I want to make this video, of course, is this poster behind me. I wanted to show it off. I thought it was the perfect time to show off this poster with the release of the second trailer. You got Ant-Man and the Wasp on Kang's finger there, and I love this poster. I believe it's the teaser poster. And then we got another poster that's kind of like, I don't know, abstract art or whatever you want to call it. And then there's another one they did after that. This is my favorite poster by far that we've gotten for this movie. I might take this down eventually for a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 poster, but who knows. But yeah, let's talk about this trailer. So, yeah, released during a college football game during like the third quarter. I wasn't watching the football game, but I was keeping up with, this, maybe not the score, but the time, because I wasn't sure if it was going to come out during halftime or, people were saying during the third quarter, which inevitably it did come out during the third quarter. For my time, it was about 10:30 p.m., which from a lot of people I heard, like during a lot of live streams that I watched waiting for the trailer, people saying, oh yeah, Marvel trailers typically come out at this time for me, so it'll probably be 10:30 for you. So yeah, 10:30 where I live is when it came out. I don't know when it came out for you guys out there. I would love to know down in the comments. And also just down in the comments below, what did you think of the trailer? What do you think about the movie going into it? Do you have any theories? I would love to hear anything and everything all at once. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it premiered during a football game, like I said, and I was refreshing YouTube for about 2 hours. I was watching a couple different live streams. I believe there was a channel I was watching called Demolition. But I believe it's spelled without the E in demolition. So go check out his channel. He does like reactions and stuff to TV shows and movies and whatnot. And he was doing a live stream waiting for the trailer to come out. So I was just kind of in his chat the whole time, hanging out with him, waiting for the trailer. Come to find out, he's also a Michigander. So shout out to him if you are watching this right now. And go check out his channel for sure. Definitely kept me entertained while I was waiting literally like 2 hours for the trailer. Just kept refreshing, the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel, kept refreshing, I had the search bar in there, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer, just kept refreshing that. And when it finally came out, oh my god, dude, I watched it so many times, and then I was tired at that point because, I'd been going to sleep a little bit later the last few nights because I haven't been feeling good. And I woke up the next day, or today I should say, and I probably watched it over 15 times, not 15, well, definitely over 15, but probably close to, if not over 50 times. Whereas the first trailer, I probably watched it a decent amount of times because I've seen it in the theater. But other than that, I haven't really wanted to rewatch it as much as I've wanted to rewatch this one. And that's where I'll get into my point immediately, is that, even though there was a little bit of a serious tone to the last trailer, the last trailer still kind of had that fun tone. It started with the fun tone, at least, that we associate with the character of Scott Lang, Ant-Man, the kind of humor that we get with those types of movies. If somebody calls him Spider-Man, mistakes him for Spider-Man, which, that's funny. Come on. I think there is going to still be humor in this movie, but it definitely will be the darkest one yet. And this trailer just goes to show that it will be very dark. And, yeah, I mean, not only that, but it's, in my opinion, at least, going to be the most ambitious Marvel project yet, at least from what it looks like. It's about 2 hours and 5 minutes, and I feel like a majority of that will be spent in the quantum realm, which I'm very excited to see that, because for the most part, I mean, we're either in space, all throughout the universe, or on Earth, or potentially on other planets like Ego and whatnot, but we've never stayed inside of the quantum realm for that long. We've seen a little bit of it, I guess, with Avengers Endgame when they're going through the quantum realm, the time travel, and we saw a little bit in Ant-Man and the Wasp, the first Ant-Man and the Wasp film, not the first Ant-Man, but the first Ant-Man and the Wasp. So we saw a bit there when Michael Douglas went in to save Michelle Pfeiffer. why can't I remember his name at the moment? But Janet Van Dyne and Hank Pym. There we go. Which, by the way, with Janet Van Dyne and Hank Pym, I feel like those are the two characters, along with kind of Hope Van Dyne as well. Those characters I feel like we've seen the least from in these trailers. Cassie and Ant-Man definitely seem to be the heart of the film, and Kang very much so is the villain. I think I'll get to this in a minute, but M.O.D.O.K will kind of be like the sidekick to Kang, um, with potential to kind of get more power in the future. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe. But I would like to see that character come out of the quantum realm and be, on Earth. That'd be very interesting. But that's all I'll say about M.O.D.O.K for now. But yeah, let me see. I do think this trailer showed a little bit too much, especially towards the end there. Kind of made it obvious how the movie would kind of come to its climax of Kang, essentially, what's the word I'm looking for? Tricking Scott, betraying Scott. There we go. He tells Scott at the beginning, hey, I can give you more time with your daughter. That's what you want. That's what he promises in the beginning, but he's going to inevitably betray him, which, isn't super surprising, but still something that, I guess I would have liked to save for the movie, but maybe that's the only time they really fight. So I guess they just wanted to show that off, which I don't blame them because it looks really cool. You got Kang stomping on Ant-Man. You got the POV shot of Ant-Man in the mask. That looks awesome. I can't wait for that. And you even have a little bit of Kang's armor kind of taken off too, which, I kind of wanted to save this for the end. But this is my big theory of the, entire movie is that, well, Scott Lang might die. I don't know for sure if he will, but if he does, it's not going to be permanent, because I think there's things that they might do going forward that could bring him back potentially in Kang Dynasty. I don't know. I'm not Kevin Feige, so I don't know the plan, but I have a feeling he could die. It's about a 50-50 for me at this point. He's either going to die or be separated from Cassie and the others again for who knows how long. That might be the case. But when it comes to this Kang, I think this Kang could potentially die in this movie. And some people might be saying, oh my God, isn't he supposed to be like the next Thanos? Yes, he is. But at the same time, I feel like it's not the final form of Kang that we're going to see in Kang Dynasty. And if, Kang makes it long enough for Secret Wars, which I feel like Kang will probably be in Secret Wars. But at the same time, my theory for Secret Wars is that maybe Doctor Doom will be the main villain. I hope so. I don't know. I can't wait for that. But that's a whole other conversation for another day. But at the same time, when it comes to Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, this starts phase 5, right? 5 or 6. I forget exactly which one we're on. But, this kicks it off, and not only does, kicks it off, but also introduces the next Thanos level event. Thanos level character, which is Kang. And, this is going to be a really big movie, whether people like Ant-Man or not. This is going to be a very important Marvel movie to watch going forward. And with that, I would say if you haven't watched Loki, that would be a very important show to watch going forward as well before watching Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And if you haven't at least seen, Avengers Endgame, I feel like at a certain point, those types of people probably aren't watching this video, but if there's a decent amount of Marvel movies that you haven't seen that involve characters like Ant-Man or, Loki or anything like that, or really any of the Avengers movies, if you missed out on any Avengers movies, I would say just come on, cut your losses, or at least just try to get back on the wagon. But yeah, there's definitely a decent amount of things I would recommend watching before. Obviously, the first two Ant-Man films, but I would say Avengers Endgame is very important, maybe Civil War as well. Really just any appearances of Ant-Man, I would say, would be the most important. But also, the stuff with Loki as well, I think is going to play potentially at least small role in this movie. I think it at least has to, or that at least has to be mentions of the TVA. Whether or not we see Loki or Sylvie, who knows? Maybe we'll see Ravonna Renslayer, because in the comics, that's a really big character connected to Kang. So I think that's another potential character to show up in here. But I feel like you can't ignore the TVA whatsoever. I think the TVA most likely is inside the quantum realm, so who knows? But yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a shot that some people kind of pointed out in Ant-Man and the Wasp, um, where you are in the quantum realm when Hank Pym is looking for Janet, and you can actually see this little city that might potentially be the city in this movie, which I forget the name of. I'm sorry, correct me in the comments below if you remember the name. But it's either that, the city that we're going to see in this movie, or it's going to be the TVA. And I don't know. It's just really interesting to me that it's all in the quantum realm, and I feel like it's connected somehow. And if we don't see Loki or getting any mention of the TVA in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, then we're definitely going to get some big stuff in Loki season 2 for sure. So either way, I would say watch Loki going into it because it's going to be very important, either before or after. Honestly, I would say before because Loki season 1 really sets up what's about to happen in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania without trying to give too much away, but you already might know. Hopefully it wasn't spoiled for you. Hopefully you watched it on your own. But for those of you who don't necessarily keep up with all the shows or movies, just a little common knowledge for you, just to get you geared up for this movie if you're really looking forward to it. I don't want you to go in there thinking that you completely missed something, because that's not a nice feeling. But yeah, let me get on to my second side of the page here. Like I said before, the first trailer definitely had a serious tone, but still a jokey tone at the end of the day. This one's a lot darker. You get the scenes of Kang and Ant-Man fighting. You get these really weird, just mind-bending scenes of Ant-Man being propped up by other Ant-Men. You get to see variants of Ant-Man in here, which again, the whole variant idea is something that comes from Loki, so I'm just like, how could they not do anything with that? But yeah, I mean, the biggest takeaway for me, at least in this trailer, is Kang, just setting him up as this villain. I think he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Whether or not he survives through this film, who knows? But again, my theory there is that this might not be the final form of Kang that we see. But yeah, let me see here. I think that's everything for this page. So let's get on to the next one. For a lot of other people, of course, the biggest takeaway from this trailer will be M.O.D.O.K. Whether or not you know the character of M.O.D.O.K, who knows? But M.O.D.O.K is a character I kind of was slightly familiar with, just from like seeing pictures and stuff from the comics. And then with the Avengers game that we got, and then, of course, the M.O.D.O.K series on Hulu, which only got one season and that got canceled, which is unfortunate because that show is actually really funny. I would highly recommend it. Also might be reviewing it in the near future. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, M.O.D.O.K is a character I don't know a whole lot about, but the most I get from him, honestly, like when I think about the character, I think of him as a jokey kind of character because he's ridiculous. How could he not be ridiculous? And we get a couple clips, or like one clip in particular of M.O.D.O.K with the mask on. He looks menacing as hell and looks super cool. I love the look of M.O.D.O.K when he has that all together. And then you get the kind of, M.O.D.O.K unmasked. And for those of you who don't know, aren't aware, I'm pretty sure M.O.D.O.K in here, 99.99999% sure, is supposed to be played by Corey Stoll, who played Darren Cross / Yellow Jacket in the first Ant-Man movie. With Janet Van Dyne, she got, she went subatomic, she went into the quantum realm, and she survived. So, even though Darren Cross, the way he kind of, went subatomic, looked very painful, it's possible he still could have survived. And obviously here it looks very much like Corey Stoll with his face stretched out. Looks ridiculous, but at the same time, it might work in the movie, so who knows? M.O.D.O.K is supposed to look ridiculous, but I just think the way that he was like kind of contorted when he was going subatomic just kind of gave him body dysmorphia and just made him look that way. So interesting. I think he's just kind of going to be a henchman to Kang in this movie, but I think we're going to see more from him going forward, potentially. I would love to see more. And I think he could be kind of a potential character to show up in maybe Vision Quest, which is supposed to be, I think, Disney Plus Marvel special presentation, which is supposed to set up Young Avengers too, which another thing I want to mention here is that this film will most likely set up more of the Young Avengers. I'm sure you know some of the people we've seen already. Miss Marvel, we've seen Riri Williams, Ironheart. Who else have we seen? America Chavez. I guess Spider-Man could still be on that list potentially. So there's young Avengers being introduced here, and then of course we have Cassie Lang in here being introduced as, the character of Stature, which is a character in the comics, and she becomes part of the Young Avengers. And from what I hear, actually, the first Young Avengers, like the first villain they fight, is Kang. I don't know if that's going to be what happens in a potential Young Avengers movie, because let's be honest, if Young Avengers is going to be anything in Marvel, it's going to have to be a movie. Anything Avengers has to be a movie, in my opinion. I think Young Avengers is like the main thing I'm just hoping and praying for them to announce. That's the one thing that I'm just like holding on hope for, and I'm sure it's coming. But I can't wait for it. Even above like X-Men and stuff like that, I just can't wait for Young Avengers. So, and something that hasn't been done on screen before, at least in live action, whereas X-Men has. So yeah. Also, sorry, I might have to wrap this up in a bit. My throat's kind of getting a little sore. You might be able to hear that. I'm getting a little hoarse. So hopefully I can do reviews over the next couple of days. We'll see. But yeah, Corey Stoll as M.O.D.O.K in here. I'm not sure if they're going to give him the name of M.O.D.O.K in here, but I'd very much like that. M.O.D.O.K is a character I'm very much interested to see in live action in the MCU, so I very much can't wait to see him there, as ridiculous as it looks without him having the mask on. I think it'll grow on me. I think it'll grow on other people. So yeah, only time will tell, and we don't have a whole lot of time to wait. But yeah, I think I said this before, but Scott's relationship with Cassie is the heart of the film, setting up the Young Avengers. Scott might die. If Scott doesn't die, somebody's going to die for sure. I feel like I don't think this movie is going to end with anybody completely unscathed. I think somebody has to die in this film. Now, if it's not Scott, who would I want it to be? Aside from, Kang being the villain, I think he could potentially die and, set up another variant that could be potentially worse. Which, with that whole idea, I don't know if I'd like that if they continue to do that with Kang, just keep killing him off until they get to the final form. But that could be potentially cool as well, just getting to the most evil Kang of all. That'd kind of be badass. Never mind, that'd be pretty sweet, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's probably what they're gonna do, and honestly, I really do think they're gonna. I could be completely wrong. And if I am, I will bite my words. I will come on here and apologize to you. I will be like, in my review for Ant-Man, the spoiler review, I will be like, hey, I apologize right now. I'll make a note of it. And I'll probably forget. I'm probably not going to make a note of it. But maybe I'll remember by that time that I had this theory. But who knows? Maybe try to remind me. But yeah, we haven't seen much from Bill Murray or Michelle Pfeiffer or Michael Douglas, or even really Evangeline Lilly for that matter, which has me a little bit worried. It's 2 hour and 5 minute runtime. I feel like a lot of that is going to be focused on Cassie, Scott, and then of course Kang. And I feel like, especially in the Ant-Man and the Wasp film, even though they were prevalent in that film, they still kind of felt like side characters. I've never really felt much for the character of the Wasp. Michael Douglas in there as Hank Pym, I think he's fine. And, Janet Van Dyne, I haven't really had time to get connected to. So in here, she just kind of feels like she's just there to kind of like navigate through the quantum realm because she knows it. And, Bill Murray's there just to kind of give her another reason to be there. But maybe by the time the film comes out, that won't be the case. Maybe they'll actually have a good story arc for them in there. But as for right now, it kind of just seems like they're off to the side and don't really have a whole lot to do. But yep, that's pretty much all I have to say about the second trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Comment down below, what did you think of this trailer? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? I definitely loved this trailer, but at the same time, I will say, like I said before, I do think it kind of gave away a little bit too much, but it definitely gave me a lot to talk about, almost 20 minutes worth, which I wasn't expecting to talk about that long. So if you stuck around this long, I very much appreciate it. Leave a like on the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and I will see you in the next one.